and we all thought Formula One could not get any better right now. Max Verstappen once again inspires the whole Formula One fan base, taking his first ever Formula One pole position. That's quite strange to say, in the sense that this guy is becoming a serial Formula One winner, and this is his first time on pole position, but it's finally arrived. 2019, the Hungarian Grand Prix, almost a second in front of his teammate, in front of the two Mercedes, Verstappen, who has won 2 of the last 3 Grand Prix. He is the man in form right now, and going into the summer break, not only is Formula One experiencing one of the best phases it's had in a very, very long time. Arguably one of the best patches of races in the whole hybrid era. Verstappen, he is the man so much in form that questions are starting to come about now. Could this man be the guy closest to Hamilton come the end of the season? But of course, that's not what we're focusing on today. We weren't even going to do a video today, but we've got to cover this. We have got to cover this. A historic event, I am sure. Verstappen, I think we'll all agree, a future world champion, a future Formula One legend, potentially his first ever pole position. We've got to talk about that. And yes, this is a circuit that suits the Red Bull car, but so was Monaco. This is a very, very similar circuit. If you caught our preview and predictions video, a very similar circuit to Monaco, just without the barriers. That's the main difference, and obviously geographical location, but that's boring. We don't need to talk about that. But Verstappen just pipped pole position over Valtteri Bottas, who himself was a couple of tenths ahead of Lewis Hamilton. That's a solid job from Valtteri. Quite a few drivers under pressure heading into the summer break, so for Bottas to be on that front row, I think he'll be happy with that indeed. Hamilton back in P3 on the second row of the grid. I'm not going to lie, I'm a little bit surprised at that. This has usually been a circuit that's been pretty strong hunting ground for Lewis Hamilton. However, couldn't get the job done today. Just could not find that perfect lap in Q3 in the first run or in the second run, and is out-qualified by Bottas once again. P4 Charles Leclerc. We'll talk about him in a moment when we go through in a little bit more detail, but difficult session to start with. Q1 hitting the barrier, but ultimately finishing in front of Sebastian Vettel. The margins in this qualifying session were so minimal, even in Q1, going out of Q1, getting into Q2, so minimal. That midfield this year, we've banged on about it for a very long time this year, but in all seriousness, the midfield is super close, and if we didn't have those top 3 teams, what a Formula One season this season would be. But Vettel, I think, will be disappointed to be out-qualified by Leclerc, because Vettel appeared to have the edge in practice and through Q1 and Q2, but very close margins between the Ferrari pair. Pierre Gasly, well, we mentioned it at the beginning, a second behind Max Verstappen. I think he'll be disappointed with that. Okay, he finished 6th, and that's exactly what he needs to be doing at the moment to keep that Red Bull seat. Helmut Marko, the man involved with all the, we'll call it driver switches. I know that's the official term, but I was going to be a little bit harsher on Helmut Marko there, but we'll say driver switches, has said in the press this week that Gasly will not be moved on, at least until the end of the season. So he's got the full season, supposedly, with Red Bull to the end of the year. But is that just headlines? We don't really know. And I don't want to speculate too much, but Gasly, this is what he needs to be doing. Just picking up those P6s at the moment, getting that experience, but a second behind your teammate, well, I'm not too sure that's good enough. I'd love to know your thoughts, because for me, I think he needs to be doing better. A second behind, almost behind the 2 McLaren cars, Norris P7 and Sainz P8. Those two improving all the time. That car is definitely performing to a level I don't think anyone expected in the winter break. So for them to be consistently best of the rest, that's going to put a smile on everybody's faces, especially going into 2021, where I feel McLaren are the kind of team that can make a big step forward. So the fact they're doing it already, that's really good signs for the Woking-based team. Behind those two, Romain Grosjean. I actually think that was a really good qualifying session from Grosjean. just snipped through into Q2, but Q3 whipped out an awesome lap. Well, Q2, sorry, to get into Q3, whipped out an awesome lap in the Australia spec car that at the beginning of the year and through winter testing didn't look good in low-speed corners, so we didn't expect it to do particularly well at this circuit, but to get through into Q3 with all the pressure he's under, really impressed with Grosjean today. Behind him and the final top 10 starter for tomorrow, Kimi Räikkönen in the Alfa Romeo. Classic Kimi, to be honest with you. I don't really have much else to say about Räikkönen, just doing what he's done all season long. Not necessarily been leading that midfield, but he's been getting the job done on Saturday, and then on Sunday, picking up points. And that's why I believe he sits 10th or 9th in the driver's standings at the moment. Just being consistent, and for a team like Alfa Romeo to be in Q3, a couple of years ago, Sauber were dead last. If you're a new fan or a Formula 1 casual fan, Sauber has evolved into Alfa Romeo, but they were dead last every single Grand Prix. So not only to get Kimi Räikkönen into the team, brilliant for them, but to be in Q3 again, I think they'll be very happy with Kimi's performance. Outside the top 10, you've just seen the names on screen now. I'm sorry, I hadn't planned to do a video today. I've been at work all day, and usually I sound a little bit tired, potentially. I don't know. You didn't need to know that. But I haven't put the times for the rest of the field. But that is the starting grid order for tomorrow. Giovinazzi didn't qualify, P17, but had a 3-place penalty thanks to impeding Lance Stroll. So he will start P17. But P11, and starting with fresh tyres for tomorrow's race, Nico Hülkenberg, the lead of the two Renault cars. Daniel Ricciardo didn't get out of Q1. He had an altercation with Sergio Perez, we'll talk about in a little bit, but difficult day for Renault. This was supposed to be the year they were supposed to get podiums, and whilst it could have happened last time out in Germany if things had gone their way in that particular race, on pace, they are not near podiums. They are nowhere near even a sniff of podiums. So to be not in Q3 again, do they have to write off this season at this point and really focus on next year, really focus on 2021? I think discussions are definitely going to be had during the summer. So P11 for Hülkenberg, P12 and 13 the two Toro Rosso cars. Albon just edging out Danny Kvyat by 10, well not even 10, 3,000ths of a second. Such were the margins in today's qualifying session. Those two have been pretty nip and tuck all season long, but Albon just having the edge over Kvyat, who got the podium last time out in Germany. And both, I think, will be realistic about the car's performance this year, and will be looking to try and sneak into that lower end of the points tomorrow. Giovinazzi qualified P14, but as I mentioned, will start P17. So that means Magnussen will be P14. A little bit disappointed was K-Mag. Obviously has the upgraded Haas package. However, saying that package worked so beautifully this morning in practice, worked so beautifully in Q1, but as temperatures rose, the old package was superior, and that's how Grosjean got into Q3, and that's how Magnussen was slowest in Q2. That team really need to sort out their car. Lots of talk about the drivers underperforming, but the car is an absolute mess. So I got a feel for the drivers a little bit. Hopefully they don't hit into each other, considering they're starting so far apart, but they always find a way to Grosjean and Magnussen. P15, tomorrow on the grid, George Russell, blimey, in the Williams. Cubits got their first points last time out, but Russell, my driver of the day, for sure. Qualified P16, so just missed out on Q2, but qualified ahead of the 2 racing points, Daniel Ricciardo, and over a second again in front of his teammate. This is a car that in Australia wasn't even 2 seconds. 2 seconds closer to the row in front, to 18th place. So to almost get into Q2, I've got to respect that. I really do. On a circuit which, again, didn't seem to suit their car, and I hate using the term luck in Formula 1, but they lucked out a little bit with Stroll getting impeded and with Ricciardo and Perez having their altercation, blocking each other supposedly. However, that is still a tremendous effort. He's in my ones to watch as well for tomorrow, but more so that's just to test whether the pace is there in the car, which to be honest, I think it is, especially on Russell's side of the garage. But also I want to see how good Russell's going to be with racecraft and Williams with a chance to get a mega result tomorrow. Okay, not quite points, but to be there on pace, that is exactly what that team needs going into the summer break. So I'm really interested to see George Russell's pace in the race. Tomorrow, Perez and Ricciardo 17th and 18th. Ricciardo overtaking Perez while they were gearing up for their final laps. It all got a little bit close, and it's a circuit where, to be honest with you, you expect there to be traffic, you expect there to be these kind of incidents, but Perez not happy with Ricciardo whatsoever. Ricciardo a little bit more sharing the blame, shall we say, but it seems like Ricciardo maybe has made a mistake in this situation. Stroll P19 impeded by Giovinazzi, so to be honest with you, we can't judge that too much. And Robert Kubica, at arguably his home Grand Prix, will start last in P20. And I know he's Polish, and this is the Hungarian Grand Prix. However, there are plenty of Robert Kubica fans here in the grandstands. And that is your lot from the Hungarian Grand Prix. Again, I hadn't planned to do this video, so apologies that the graphics aren't quite as spicy as they usually are, but this is what we had to talk about. Verstappen really is putting his stamp on this season, and whilst this might be Hamilton's 6th championship, I think a lot of people remember this season for Max Verstappen. What a drive today. And fun fact, and this came out after the German Grand Prix, this is a guy that last year in Hungary DNF'd. Engine failure, 0 points. In every race since last year's Hungarian Grand Prix, Max Verstappen, believe it or not, has finished in the top 5 in every single race. First pole position in Formula 1 history for him today. The first ever pole position for a Dutch driver. The omens are looking pretty good for tomorrow. So, to the Orange Army, I say this. Let's hope he gets a better start than in Germany, right? that would really make a lot of fans happy tomorrow. I want to know your thoughts in the comments below. Predictions for the race tomorrow. I did mine in my preview and predictions video a couple of days ago now, but we changed up the format just a little bit. So if you want to go check out my predictions, you can do in that video. Thank you very much for watching. Race review will be out tomorrow, so look out for that one. I hope you all enjoy the race, and I'll see you in the next one.